Hello everyone, this is Elisa Baum, Percona's Director of Product Marketing. We'll begin in just a moment, but first let's conduct the standard housekeeping I usually do before these shows. Can you please raise your hand located in the GoToWebinar control panel to let me know if you can hear me? Okay, great. Thank you everyone. I see some hands. That's good. Okay, next, during this webinar, you will be on mute. And should you have any questions during the discussion, please enter them in the questions field within the control panel. At the end of the webinar, we will take time to answer as many questions as possible. And those that aren't addressed will be answered in a follow-up blog entry on Percona's MySQL performance blog. In addition, I'll make sure a recording of this webinar is made available to everyone within 48 hours. And let's see, with that said, I'd like to thank you for attending today's webinar. It's called Stay Ahead of MySQL Operation Problems with Percona Toolkit. And it is being presented today by Percona consultant Daniel Guzman Burgos. And with that said, I'll turn the floor over to you. Daniel, go ahead.
Thanks, Elisa. Okay, welcome to the Stay Ahead of Operational Problems with Percona Toolkit webinar. First of all, I would like to start defining what is Percona Toolkit. Percona Toolkit is a collection of command line tools for a very wide range of MySQL DBA tasks. It works with MySQL 5.0 from like the Oracle version, Plus and Ops versions. Also works with MariaDB, Percona Server, of course, and Percona Extra DB cluster. It is professionally developed, supported, and maintained by Percona. It has more than 7 years mature, thousands of tests, 20 testing environments, and 1 full-time developer, and of course, is free and open source. Installation of Percona Toolkit, it's pretty easy. You have several options. You can install it by using the package that belongs to your distro. We have RPM and dev packages available through the Percona repo. You can use also a tarball which contains all the tools, and after download just execute make and install, and that's it. Or you just simply can download the specific tool that you need with wget to percona.com/get/the name of the tool. Now, what is Percona monitoring plugins for Nagios?
Danielle, let me interrupt you. I don't see your screen at the moment.
Okay, let me. What about now?
Let's see. Sorry about that. Let me change it back to Daniel. Sometimes we have these technical issues. Okay, Daniel, you should be able to accept it now and be all set.
Okay, it's okay now, Lisa?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, audience.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, now Percona monitoring plugins for Nagios. It's global bash scripts that are compatible with Nagios to check things like replication, load, and a bunch of other things with the benefits of it's created by MySQL experts, so it's very precise on what how to monitor things. It has very good documentation, supports for the newest version of MySQL and InnoDB, integration with other Percona software as the Percona Server, and of course Percona Toolkit is very easy to install and configure, and it's real software engineering. There is a test suite to keep the code on pretty high quality. The installation of the PMP is also pretty easy. You can download the package and install it by yourself, or you can install it from the Percona software repo with jump or apt-get standard instructions. Okay, now before we begin, I want to talk about the DSN. DSN stands for Data Source Names. Percona Toolkit uses DSNs to specify how to create a connection using the Perl DVD driver to MySQL server. Basically, it's a comma-separated string of key value parts. Like, for example, we can see age equal the host name, p the caps p its port, and user. And there's more things that you can define, like the chart set or the socket path, etc. You can find all the options on the documentation page. Now, let's start with the Percona Toolkit itself. So first, I'm going to talk about pt-heartbeat that can work with the Percona Nagios plugin, check MySQL replication running. So, what is pt-heartbeat? It's a reliable way to measure replication lag. It's reliable because it depends of itself. The classic way to find out if the slave have some lag according to respect with the master is using show slave status, but you can get erroneous measure with that. Like, for example, if you have a very long transaction that updates data, this transaction stays open for, like, let's say an hour and then commits, the update will go into the binlog file an hour after it actually happened. So when the replica processes the statement, it will temporarily report that it's an hour behind the master, and then it will jump back to 0. And you will get a pager alert in the middle of the night about something that it was just a false positive. So this is pretty cool that we have pt-heartbeat, so we can avoid this sort of things. It works regardless of the replication mechanisms. You can have your replication through a tungsten or whatever, any other built-in replication, it's going to work. Also works at any depth of replication hierarchy. It will report how far a slave it's from the master. It doesn't matter how many tiers do you have, how many layers. If replication is stopped, it will continue to work and report that the slave is falling further and further behind the master. It's not like on the show slave status that you will see only a null. You actually can see how far is the slave behind the master. So let's see on action. I have this virtual machine. So first of all, pt-heartbeat can be run in several modes. The one that is mandatory is the update mode. That is the one that it will write to a table. In this case, is the Percona.heartbeat table. It will write a timestamp for every time. So, okay, and the update that it's the route that is being written updated, it's also being replicated through the slaves. This way, the measure is it's a difference between timestamps. Of course, the idea is to have master and slave with the synchronize the clocks or the timestamp, so it's the measure is more exact and it doesn't have any issues. So here is, yes, let me see something. It should normally. Okay. Right now it should show that there's no problem with that with the slaves. So I have on this same machine as the slave that also have the Percona and the heartbeat table. So it will show and it's getting updated. Now, the idea to mix this with Nagios is that you can be alert when there's problem, when there's a it's getting behind the slave, or when the replica is completely broken. So I have already configured the services. I actually have two services related to the slave running. That is, one is slave delay that will inform when there's a lag, and the slave running that it basically just say replication is running, yes or no. That's simple. So we can simulate problems with the replica. Let's stop the and the slave running immediately, or at the next check, it will say, okay, your replica it's getting behind, and it will continue to get behind. So it's not just a null value, it's actually saying you're getting behind 25 seconds, 28 seconds, etc., etc. Also, slave running, it says it's a warning because it's not completely broken. The IO thread is still running, but the SQL thread it doesn't. So it's a problem, but it's not that critical. Of course, you can define that. There's in the documentation you can see which parameter you need to configure to define the critical levels. So that's pretty straightforward, pretty easy, and pretty useful. It gives you more info than just I don't know, the classical show slave status. So if we start again the thread, that's it. The status goes back to okay. And since there is no traffic on this instance of MySQL instance, the catch up was pretty fast. Okay. Okay, now we're going to talk about the pt-log logger from Percona Toolkit, that it also has a per Nagios plugin, that is the check MySQL deadlocks. So basically, pt-log logger log MySQL deadlocks. The benefit is that the info it's much easier to read than from the latest deadlock from show engine InnoDB status. It keeps history of deadlock, so you can find a pattern. And combined with the PMP Nagios plugin, it becomes a useful way to know these problems. Let's see on action. So first of all, you will need to run the pt-deadlock logger. You can leave it running as a daemon, which means that it will run on background and forever. And also you define where is the table that you want that the info get logged. So in this case, it's Percona Deadlocks table. We just run the toolkit tool, and let's make a deadlock. So I have this table that it's okay. Test use test. That's it. You know the deadlock maker that it's empty. I just want to create a deadlock with 2 connections on the same instance. This transaction is waiting for a log to get the log, the exclusive log. And now if I do this insert, boom, deadlock found. Since we are artificially creating the deadlock, we can know that which transaction was rollbacked. That is this one. But when the application is running and it's happening a lot of things, it's pretty. It's not that easy to find out that it was a deadlock. And now we can see on the Nagios that it says that there are 2 deadlocks. Actually, it's a deadlock with 2 transactions. And I have defined that the warning should be when there are 2 deadlocks. So we can create another deadlock, finish the same. Let's use. So another deadlock, and now this should be in in the next iteration. This should be the critical that it's the new level of the status. So this is pretty good to find out as fast as it's possible potential big issues inside the database. Not only it's rare that on a database or an operation that has been working like for a long time that these things start to arise, but it's more possible that this happened after a deploy of new code of the application, for example. So it's pretty good to have all this info. Like I was saying, we know which one was the transaction that was the victim, because we force it, but you know that's not the case. So in the table we have all this info that it's pretty useful to find out what happened. So we can see, for example, for this last one, the victim field. This one is 0, this one is 1. So this one was the transaction that innovative issues that it has to be killed. So we can easily see the query, which table was involved, the type of the log, the log mode that it was exclusive, and with this info you can start to fix things and make things and avoid possible future deadlocks. Okay, Now we're going to talk about the pt-table checksum, but it's also have the can be combined with the PMP check pt-table checksum. The table checksum is basically verifies MySQL replication integrity, which means if there is data inconsistency between master and slaves, so find slaves with incorrect data. It's important knowledge with very little effort. And knowing the problem exists is the first step towards fixing it. Let's remember that replication doesn't check data consistency. On the slaves, it tries to run the queries that are on the relay log after the bin log was written. If the queries are successful, show slave status will tell you everything's okay, and that's it. And what can go wrong? Well, several things can go bad. Writing directly on the slave instead of the master, that's like first thing wrong. Skipping replication events with the SQL skip position command. Some kind of issue with replication filters. Writing to the master skipping bin log with the SQL bin log equals 0. And also non-deterministic writes when you are using bin log format in a statement and you have inserts that involve function like now or cure time or something like that, data will be different for sure, because the replication, the thing that is going to be replicated is the statement itself, the now, not the value. So that could be a problem, and that's why it's better to run on mixed format or in raw format. So if you're lucky, replication will stop with an error. But if not, you just will continue to work with hiding problems, and you probably find out in the worst possible moment that it could be a slave becoming a master or something like that. So the good thing about pt-table checksum with the Nagios plugin is that you can create a cron job with only task to execute pt-table checksums over all the databases, or sorry, all the tables, or over critical tables if you don't want to make the tool run for too much time. For this purpose, I'm gonna run it over the actor table from the Sakila database. That Sakila database is an example database for a video store, the old ones. And right now, I'm just executing the table checksum, but I'm not gonna get replication checks. I'm not gonna get info about what's going on because I'm telling no replicate check. I'm just saying just execute the table checksum. If there is any problem, Nagios is gonna tell me if there is something going on. Right now, it's everything okay because there is no inconsistency between master and slave. So let's create one from the table actor. Let's remove one row. I'm using foreign key check 0, so we can do this thing that it wasn't possible. So we no longer have the 199 record. Now, next time that I execute this, it's not telling me anything. It's not telling me there's an error or whatever, because this is think of like something that is going to run on a task over a cron job. So I just need to execute, and the one that it's going to inform to me is Nagios. Right now, this is critical, and it says that it had found one child different in one tables, including Sakila actor. This could be a problem that there could be a difference in several tables or several chunks in the same table. So this is just a hint. If you want to really want to know all the errors, well, you can run the table checksum, but instead of executing the checksum, you just check for the errors. So in this case, it will say Sakila actor is the only one, and it has count difference. So there's less data. There's also that it could be the same amount of rows of records, but with different data. That's another case. In this case, just that there are less records. How to fix it? Well, you can go for a backup and see there. You can find that. You can use the pt table sync tool to synchronize master and slave data. You can use pt online schema change. You can there are several ways. In this case, I just going to the easy way, that it's insert the missing record. Still is critical because I didn't have run the pt table checksum again. So let's say it's once again that time of the day when the cron job it's gonna run. Boom. And okay, now it's okay. So this is pretty useful to know that the data that you have all over your slaves, all over your databases, it has data consistency. It's okay, so you can be sure that next time you promote a slave to master, you don't have to worry about that issue. Okay. Now let's talk about pt-query digest. pt-query digests and analyze MySQL queries from logs, from slow logs, for example, from the process list of TCP dump data collected. The benefits of this tool is that it's a #1 performance optimization task. That's it. Find and fix slow queries. Period. Track and review queries, and also is a quick way to collect info. So let's see in action. I'm gonna put some artificial traffic with Sysbench. So now should probably I see queries there. Okay, so quick way to collect info. Normally, like the standard way to collect data is activate the slow query, change the long query time value, rotate the file, and capture the data. If you're in a hurry or you're in a situation where you can allow to do that, you can use pt-query to get that data for you. In this case, I'm saying to pt-query digest that watch for process leads on this machine every 10 milliseconds, and all the data that it collects from the process leads, write it to the slow log, this file, slow log.txt, with the slow look format. So what does that mean? It's like a converter. It's reading process leads at this interval, and everything that it reads, it wrote it to this file with the slow lock format. Why is that? Because we say the pquery digest analyze queries from logs, process leads, and TCP dump, and we're going to use the slow log to analyze. So we have now a file. It's not that big. It's a standard slow log. You can see it right in that way with that format. So now we can analyze it and see what's happening in there. So now we have the query digest processed. We can see what's going on. So in this case, it's pretty quiet, everything. The number one query is commit. That is because Sysbench write every statement around a transaction, around a begin and commit statement. So everything will be commit, 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 then sell it. So it's pretty easy. Let's say that this is also pretty useful when you want to find out what is the impact of a new deploy on the database. So there is a new version of the code. There is an upgrade of the application. The code is going to be on production at certain hour, 10 a.m. So you can quickly collect data, like for an hour or half an hour before the deploy. Also collect data from after the deploy for another hour, and compare what's happening inside the database after this change. So you can find if the change is affecting the performance. It's using the tables in the same way. There is a new query that is the most used, or things like that. For example, if I just run the Sysbench without the transactions around them, let's try again over slow log. The commit shouldn't be the number one the number one query in the top after the query digest analysis. It should be something else. Let's see how we're here. Okay. And analyze. Let's analyze the data again. So that's it. No more commit on the number one. Now it's an update. We should stay key for the 95% of the time, 12 milliseconds. And it's the number one. It's a mix of response time and calls. Number two has more calls, but the response time is less, so that's why number two. So query digest can be very helpful to easily and quickly find issues with changes over the application that use the database. Now the pt-duplicate key checker. This is just one thing. It examines MySQL tables for duplicate or redundant index and foreign keys. Basically remove useless index safely. The benefit is that you're going to have simpler tables and faster inserts. What are the problems that come with redundant indexes? Well, one is there is an unnecessary disk overhead because of the the disk space that this duplicate indexes occupies. It doesn't sound like a very big problem, but I have found out people that removing duplicate indexes have like 30 or 50 gigabytes more data available. So it was a pretty, it can be a pretty huge table disk size that you can use for something else. Also, there's a performance overhead when the queries, when the evolved index are potentially used by the optimizer during query execution. That means that when there are two or more indexes that are candidates to be used by a query, so the query can be resolved by index A and index B, the optimizer has to evaluate both or the three or whatever, how many are, to find out which one is the one that suits the query best. And if you have 10 indexes all over on the same field, it's gonna evaluate all the 10. So it can be a problem, especially on the highly concurrent workload, because it's gonna take more time and everything is gonna start to stall. So it's pretty. It's a good way. It's a good thing to do to find out if there are duplicate indexes, especially when there are changes, like when there's a new deploy or something. I already have this table. That it has a primary key. It's an InnoDB table. A key that I call duplicated, but that doesn't mean that these are always the duplicated. It contains the primary key and a secondary, another field. A key for a secondary index for the B field, and another secondary indexes that it had both the B field and the A, which is the primary. So let's see how it handles this. You just can run it like that. It will say, okay, I found this duplicate index. It says the B field, it's in both indexes, but my suggestion is to remove the single one, because probably this is you created this with multiple feeds because probably you need it. So the tool just not only say to you that there are duplicate keys, it also creates the author table statement for you to get rid of the duplicated key, and it gives you also some data like the size, how many bytes it's using the duplicate key. In this case, because the data, the table has no data, it's just 2 sub bytes. There's a total duplicate indexes of 1 over 103 total of indexes, so it's not that a problem. I use no cluster. Cluster index needs to be treated different. On InnoDB, as you know, the cluster index is the primary key. So primary key, it's kind of attached to the secondary indexes in the way that InnoDB stores data logical in the B tree and the balanced tree. The leaf node of the tree, the secondary index is tree, it's always the primary key. So it's kind of redundant to have keys indexes with primary key and secondary indexes. So if I run this with clustered, that is the default, I have the one that I was show me before, and now this one. This involves this duplicate case involves the primary key. So in this case, what the tool is suggesting is that just leave the another duplicated key, but only with the B field without the primary key. This is the case. Drop index and also create it again with just the B. But this situation, if we execute this, is gonna lead us to the previous situation. So we're gonna have two indexes for the B field. Right now, pt duplicate key checker it's not like recursive. It has to be run several times if you make some modification or in order to find out that these kind of situations. So if you execute this and run again, you will have the same situation with the both indexes for B. This one single and another duplicated, but only with B. And in this case, well, we find two duplicated keys. It's using more disk size, and total index is the same. So it's worth to review this from time to time. Okay, pt-stalk. pt-stalk collects vital data for postmortem analysis. It's like the main job. It has these benefits, so you can put it on a daemon state, so it never sleeps, so you can collect a lot of data. A lot of data. It's like everything, not only for the database, but also the state of the server, processor running, data from disks, a lot of data. And also could be pretty helpful if you want to monitor and be alerted without Nagios or Savig or whatever in the middle. That's a pretty good case of use for pt-stalk. That is the one that I will show here. pt-stalk had this parameter function that is just you just put a path for a file that will contain a bash function. In this case, in this example, I'm gonna define I'm gonna find this simple command. I'm looking for the global status for MySQL, explicitly for the slave running status variable. I'm gonna find out if it's on or off. That's it. This means that is the replication running or is the replication broken? Period. Since pt-stalk makes the comparison with numbers, that is the threshold. I use the -c parameter on grep, so it just returns 0 or 1. I found it. I didn't find the on. And now I can run the pt-stalk, telling the path to the function, and leave it like that running. It will stay like that forever. You can run it as a daemon also, so it runs on the background. And let's see what's happening when let's use both of these. If we stop the replication, what happened? Stop slave. Boom. The function that it was monitoring returned a 0 because the slave running status variable is no longer on, it's off. So pt-stalk start to collect data. Since I told all the data collected go to this directory, to this folder, so boom, that's all the data that it collects. You can see that there's a lot of info. So you can find out why the replication stopped, what happened, what was happening on the MySQL on the server when this happened. I mentioned that this could be a pretty useful thing to monitor things without the middleman. If you're not in control of the Nagios server or the Savix or whatever you have for monitoring, and you depend on the sysadmin, with this option you can put yourself your own monitoring things, and if you add the notify by email with your email, and the server has properly configured send mail so mails can go outside, you can be monitored by basically everything you want. So it's pretty a cool thing. I actually use it a lot to monitor it. Several things. Let's put this like that. Okay. Now pt-diskstat. Pt-diskstat prints IO statistic. It's like IOStat for the ones that are familiar with this tool, but it's interactive and have more details. Well, the benefits are that prints, read, and write statistics separately. That's pretty good. It hides device that it has never observed to have any activity, so you can focus on the ones that are actually having some action inside the server. So you can run it just like that, pt-diskstat with defaults, and it's gonna show you tons of data. Since it's interactive, so you can execute commands with the question mark. You can see all the help. You can change the sample size in seconds. You can say, okay, show me the inactive disks, etc., and it will run until you execute Q. The header, you can, if you need the header like right now, you can press enter or the space bar and you can saw it. You can also say, okay, show me timestamp instead of the seconds on the first column. So that's it, that's the hour. You can always say, okay, I just want to see the write and the write related columns, the VC column and the IOStat columns. So column reges is just a per regular expression. We can see the things that you need to see. Period. That's it. This is pretty useful to find out if you have problems on the block device or in the physical device. That is not the same. The block device is what kernel sees, like the /dev/SDA or the mapper for the LVM. And the physical device could be a single disk, a write, an SSD, whatever. So it's pretty useful to find out if the service time it's mostly waiting on the block queue or it's waiting on the physical device. It's pretty useful to debug I/O bound problems. And also you can save samples to analyze it later. You just need to tell the path, and you can find sorry, and you can analyze that later. You can collect data from other servers and merge it into one machine and analyze it later. So this info is pretty much the output of the /proc/digstats, which it's kind of difficult to read like that, so that's why pt-diskstat exists. So this is the same info, but in a more easy way to read it. And now, finally, this is PTO profile. PTO profile watch process IO and print a table of file and IO activities. So pretty handy files of statistics. This tool you'll use strace and ls-off, so it can be potentially dangerous to use. It can freeze the server and may crash the process, or when the strace detached from the process can leave it on a not very good state. However, it's pretty cool tool. You can find out which file is the one guilty of heavy I/O on the disk. It could be like a complement of I/O top. For example, I/O top just show you which one is the process that is most writing to the disk, but you don't know what happened inside that process. So this can show you more info for the same process. So in this case, this is the data for the slave. So it's mostly the file that is most being used in this is the relay log. Then these files are for the TCP wrapper thing, by a library of the MySQL. If you have file portable on, you can see which IBD table is the one that is most being busy with the disk, and find potential bottlenecks, or if you already have a bottleneck, it's pretty useful to find out where to start, what's happening. You can see which tables are the ones that are most used, so you can start to focus on queries that use that tables with the PT query digest, or you can use pt-stalk to monitor specific things that are related with those tables and things like that. So it's pretty useful. It's pretty dangerous, but if you're okay with the thing, or if you can run it on a controlled environment, that will be a better idea. So that's it. Now I give you the control, Alisa.
Hi Daniel, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Go ahead, audience, and enter any questions you may have for Daniel in the questions panel, or the GoToWebinar panel, and there are some questions already. So let me go ahead and read those to you. What version of Nagios are you using?
It's the latest one, 4.08.
Okay.
Just compiled it last week, so.
And it's Nagios Core, correct?
Yeah, Nagios Core.
Okay, great. Next question is, does Percona Monitor plugin for Nagios work for stock MySQL? Yeah.
It works for any kind of flavor of MySQL. It's vendor free, so it works.
Okay, next question. Does pt-table sync work with tungsten replication?
pt-table sync, I think it does. In the pt-table sync has this feature that it just watch for difference and print the queries that should probably fix the difference. I'm not sure, but I think that using it with the print parameter it could work. It just shows you only the queries, like if you need to replace a data or insert a data or delete a data, it will show you the queries that will do the work to synchronize data. And you can execute it by hand or one by one, and not execute it through the replica. So I think it should probably work.
Okay, next question. Is the danger in PTIO profile leaving it running too long?
Well, while PTO profile is running, that means strace is running. Strace is the one that makes that the MySQL D process could work in a slower with a slower behavior. But actually, the most dangerous part are the attacks and the attacks of the process. So I think that the amount of time that you will leave it running is not an issue.
Okay, well, that seems to be pretty much it for questions. So with that said, I'd like to thank you so much today, Daniel, for your presentation. And audience, I'd like to thank you too for attending. We hope to see you in future webinars. And I hope that everybody has a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, wherever you're dialing from. Thank you again, Daniel.
No, thanks to you.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.